Hey Divas, good evening to you all. Happy Easter to you if you're in the States and this part of the world, and if you're on the other side of the world, good morning to you or great rising. I wanted to share this story with you because this is really fresh. So I figured let me share this with you all now because again, if you don't share something, it'll hold you prisoner. So hello to you that are joining me. I hope you're having a fantastic evening, a fantastic time. But I'm here to remind you that no one needs to validate you for you to shine. You're the only one that has to validate you. So if you can get to a point where you can validate yourself with ease, you're good to go, girl. Let me tell you. There was a season in my life, for a good long season in my life, where I needed validation from like my parents, from my mother, I looked outside of myself to see if what I was doing was okay, and that hindered me because most times it wasn't. I wasn't perfect enough, or I hadn't done enough, or I could do more. Blah blah blah. So the thing about it is, though, I had gotten to a point in my life where I had actually forgotten that. Like I had forgotten those were things from my past, and I just kind of moved forward. And you get to a point in your life where you get to a point of self-acceptance and get to move on and put on your big girl pants, and I had reached that point in my life, a level of emotional maturity, if you will, that I didn't necessarily feel I needed that validation. But the thing about it is, when I was doing some of my inner work years ago, I could not remember why I felt certain things. Like, why did I feel I needed validation? Like, where did that come from? Like, I couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't grow up in like an abusive situation or some high level of dysfunction. I come from a middle class family of people who immigrated to the United States, and was steeped in strong work ethic. So those are the lessons I got in life. But it was nothing I would call majorly dysfunctional. So I could not put my finger on what why did I feel a need to have so much validation. So anyway, I'd done the work, did my healing and all that stuff. Well, everyone's under quarantine, right? We're all pretty much in the same boat, and that kind of forces you to kind of connect with people in ways you don't typically connect. So I was just on a Zoom call. Hey Vanessa, hey Jacqueline, good to see you, ladies. Say hello if you all can hear me. I know we've got a slight delay here. This quick thing with you all, just to remind you all that no one needs to validate you so that you could shine. You get to shine just because of who you are, what you're called to do, just who you are, the gifts that you have. You get to present that to the world. Um, so I was so at this season we were having a Zoom call. So I am facilitating calls with my family, and my mom's got a good sized family. On She has a couple of sisters, and then they all had kids, and then they have kids, and so we were on this family call, and it was a beautiful thing. We did it last week. Hey Vanessa, we did it last week. And so we said we're going to repeat it again today. And it was a different dynamic there today because we had my mom show up and my sister show up. But they didn't show up last week. So it was a different dynamic, kind of different energy in the call. But anyway, so we talked and it was nice. So then we hung up, and I saw that my mom had called me and I missed her call. So I called her back to see what she needed. And she just wanted to say Happy Easter. So I started to tell her such what I consider to be great news, and the great news was that I'm discovering my family side of my dad's side of my family. So I didn't know that side. Like I only knew some of my immediate cousins, from his siblings, but apparently my dad's side is huge, from my grandfather. My grandfather had like 14 siblings, and they've all got kids and grandkids. So I'm on this path to meeting these people. It's beautiful. So I wanted to tell my mother about this. And I started telling her, well, first of all, we were talking, and she said, she had this situation where my other sister that was there left her bag there. She had bought her some dinner because they're all in the quarantine in New York. So I bought her some dinner. She left her bag, and I had said, "Oh, why don't you? Let me hang up. Why don't you call her and get the bag?" And she said, "No, no, 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 no. Let's talk. Let's talk." So I started talking, And I brought this up, and over some time, she just straight interrupted me and was just like, "Let me go. I'm gonna go and get your sister, call your sister, and get her the bag." Now, normally, I wouldn't. It wouldn't be a big thing, but in that moment, it was when I really understood why I felt unheard, undervalued, like I had to prove myself, because in that moment, in that instant, it felt like the excitement that I have, the level of joy that I have about discovering these people whom I've never met. She didn't feel the same way, and she didn't create a space for me to enjoy that. It was like it wasn't important. Just because I'm enjoying it, it's not important. And um and I realized that's what it was. It's just not necessarily a respect for my emotions or someone else's emotions. And this is her. This has always been her. It's just that once you've done the work and you come outside of it, you can recognize it. Because I was like, for the longest time, like, why do I feel like I'm not good enough? I'm not worthy. And it was affecting everything. It was affecting my relationship. It was affecting my business building. It was affecting my income. And so I was doing my work, to make sure that I had a strong sense of self worth. But it was in this moment today, and this is what I want to share with you all. It was in this moment today that I realized that is where this came from. And because, as a child, you just want to, please your parents. You want to be the apple of their eye. You want to be that one that they love. So, you want to feel loved. And, as kids, we do what we need to do, to make sure we get our needs met. And so I've always had this emotional disconnection with my mom, so I'm no stranger to that. I've had to heal in that area, but it just hit me today, like, very, very strongly, and so precisely. Like, this was a pattern, like, over the years, of just dismissing how I felt, like it wasn't important, and not honoring who I am as a person. So I want to share with you all. That's my story. It's not my current story. That's the story I've been healed from. But I want to share with you all, just a reminder, in case you need to hear it, that you don't need anyone's validation for you to shine. You get to be the beautiful, amazing, gifted woman that you are, that's called to amazing, great service in the world. And you get to go and share your gifts. You get to go and heal if that's the way God's using you. You get to go lift people up. You get to go transform lives. You get to go hold spaces for people, holy spaces for people. So you get to do that. And the only person that needs to validate you, only earthly person that needs to validate you, is you. As long as you can get to a point where you can accept who you are, you don't need someone outside of you to validate you. So I just want to just encourage you all. I know it's Easter Sunday, at least in this part of the world. Um, and you're probably spending time with your family. So for those of you that are watching this on replay, I hope you listen to the whole thing and you get to this point of the video and recognize that you are beautiful, you are creative, you are great, you are amazing, you are divine, and you are meant for divine service and for divine riches. Okay, so that is for you. You get to have that, you get to enjoy that, and you get to go be a major blessing in the world. So just want to encourage you that now is the time for us to really bring these gifts to the marketplace and not be ashamed of it, and not make it wrong to go and exchange money for your services. And I want to speak a little bit about that because, someone actually reached out to me and told me that people are hurting in the world. And I responded back and said, absolutely they are. And this is why the work that we do is so critical, and we need not be ashamed or afraid to be the light in the world, to be transformation in the world, because that is our world. That's our assignment. That's our job. That's our being. That's who we are. And if we get really, into this, we begin to embody this. We begin to represent this in a way where people understand that this is why we're here. So just keep moving forward. Keep bringing your messages to the people, and know that you are meant for so much more, and your desires matter. And there's so much greatness in you, and you get to express that in the world, and you don't need anyone to validate you. You don't need anyone to approve of you. You don't need anyone to align with you and say that this is right for you. If you feel in your heart that God is calling you to something greater, then I encourage you to explore that and get to know that part of you, because the conditioning of today's world doesn't allow us to develop that. The conditioning has a traditional path. And so those of us that are called for more, those of us that are called to greatness, um, a lot of times that traditional path doesn't work for us. So you have to understand that if you have been on a traditional path of just doing what everyone told you to do, and now you've come to expect someone to tell you what to do, I want to encourage you that begin to listen to the still small voice inside of you, and learn to trust it at such a deep level, to a point where it begins to carry you, and then that voice becomes louder and louder and louder. Going back to my story about my mom just today, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love her dearly, and so now I have compassion, because I can see that the root of that is some hurt that she's not resolved within herself. So I get that, I get her humanity, but I'm just saying that it just kind of cemented for me today. Like, I saw it, I was like a fly on a wall. I was able to really check it out and see, oh, that's where that came from. And there was no hurt attached to it, thank God. I wasn't triggered. That tells me I was healed from it. I wasn't triggered by it, but I could certainly be a fly on the wall, and appreciate it for what it is. And then she was like, well, do you want me to call you back? And I was like, no, Mommy, have a great day. Enjoy your Easter. Now in the past, having not healed from it, I would have possibly felt kind of let down, kind of like unheard, and I wouldn't know what to do with that. But because I know that this is where she is, that's not something I need to fall into again. So thank God for that. So again, no one needs to validate you, beautiful ladies. You've got this. You've got what it takes to be so successful in the world, bringing your message, your aligned message, um, your packaging, your offerings, bringing that to the world, and being able to transact. That's perfectly within your right to do that, so that you're nourished as well as you're nourishing other people. So I just wanted to remind you of that you get to participate, you get to take up space, and you get to show up in the world as big as you allow it to be. All right, ladies? So God bless you. And I will talk with you all tomorrow, unless I get divinely inspired again to share something else. Have a great day. Let me see. Vanessa, you're working on your webpage. Okay, honey, good for you. I hope that's something that's gonna make you some money though, Vanessa, because you don't necessarily need that right away. Just so you know. Susan, hello. Loretta, hello. Thank you for joining us. God bless you, ladies, and talk again. Bye.